Today I want to talk to you about power. And it won't even involve any push-ups. I hope to teach you a little bit about how to be more powerful in your sales process and in your entrepreneurial journey. So there's a big difference between people who have power and people who feel powerless. And it's all in the mindset. So I'm gonna go through some examples and then teach you how you might be able to make some mind shifts so that you become more powerful. So here's an example. Let's say you're on your way to an appointment with a potential client and you hit a traffic jam. I lived in New York City, so this was pretty much guaranteed. But anywhere you are, there's a potential that you could hit unexpected traffic, and you're sitting there and you're looking left and right and you're trying to steer into the lane that's moving more quickly, and then you start sweating because at that moment that you realize there's no way you're going to be on time for that appointment, and then someone cuts you off, and then a police officer stops you for speeding once you finally get past that bottleneck of traffic, and you just want to scream. So how you respond to this situation makes all the difference. There's two options, right? There's the first option, which is to blame everyone else, right? Blame the car that had the accident up the road, blame the police officer for being a you-know-what that day, blame that car that cut you off, blame your wife for asking you to stay an extra minute to make a sandwich for the kids' lunch, or that your suit wasn't ready to go, or you couldn't find a shoe because your kids hit it on you, your dog was chewing on it. There's lots of things you could blame it on for being late, everyone except yourself, right? So when you start blaming other people or other things or other circumstances for the results you get, you are making yourself powerless. You are actually taking power away from yourself because there's nothing you can do to change other people or the circumstances, right? Like that police officer, you can't control whether he's going to be sitting there or if he's going to be in the mood to stop you that day. And you can't control the person who's also in a rush who decides to cut you off. So because you can't control the things around you, what you can control is your response to them. So take the other scenario. The second scenario is the person who ends up in this situation, ends up late to their appointment. And instead of blaming everyone else for that happening, because let's face it, the same exact thing could happen the next day. Like your shoe could be eaten, your suit may not be cleaned, you may have to make another peanut butter and jelly sandwich on your way out the door, and there may be another accident and another speeding ticket. So the person's situation doesn't change much if they blame. But if you arrive to that appointment late and you apologize, and instead of blaming everyone else, you take accountability for yourself. Now, I'm not talking about how you communicate it to the client. Of course, it's in your best interest to take accountability for anything that happens in your business when you're talking to the clients, because they understand the difference between power and powerlessness also subconsciously. So if you walk in saying, oh, this happened and this person cut me off and then I got a speeding ticket, blah, 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 and that's why I'm late, I'm sorry. They know that you're powerless. If, however, you decide to take accountability for the situation, meaning and responsibility, meaning not that you are taking accountability for the fact that someone cut you off or that there was a police officer that day, because those things you can't control, but you decide that you are accountable because you didn't leave enough time. You didn't leave enough extra time for all those things that could happen. You didn't, put your outfit out the night before. You didn't make the peanut butter and jelly sandwich the night before. You didn't ask your wife if she needed anything the next day so you could plan your morning accordingly. So, and this isn't about the conversation with your client. This is about the conversation with yourself. So the person who takes accountability then has power because they can change themselves. You can't change other people, but you can certainly change yourself and how you react to situations. So that person would then next time make sure they had enough time and did all those things to prepare to make sure that they were on time. And now that person has power. So taking accountability, taking responsibility means having power. And so the alternative is being a victim, because there's nothing you can do to change your circumstances or how other people are going to act or behave. You can only change your response to it. And this carries over into your personal life too, into your personal relationships. So let's talk about salespeople though, and you as a salesperson, if you're an entrepreneur that has to sell. If as a salesperson, when you aren't experiencing the results that you want to in your business, you start blaming everyone else, right? Salespeople typically do that. It's part of the reputation that they have amongst management. You don't want to be part of that, right? Is that they complain. So if things aren't going right, they blame the manager, they blame the product, they blame the price, they blame the leads, they blame the support team, customer service. They blame everybody else except themselves. Then there's the professional salesperson who never blames other people, but takes accountability for where they are in their sales journey and takes every setback as a potential lesson of not how everyone else can change, but how he or she can change to make the situation better. And that person, again, has the power, whereas the person who continues to blame has no other choice but to be a victim and be powerless. So I want you to think about that, and I want you to also think about the self-talk that goes on in your head, because as someone who starts taking accountability, it's as if you're being your own manager. It's hard enough being a salesperson or being an entrepreneur, but now you also have to manage your own inner salesperson and inner entrepreneur. So that's a whole other level. And that means keeping yourself accountable, making sure you're being responsible, not letting yourself get away with stuff like that. Really be your worst, toughest manager, but at the same time, the best cheerleader. So it's not about, beating yourself up when things go right. It's about picking yourself up and saying, how can we improve? I know I can do this. How can I do it better? And so you need to be your own best cheerleader, and your clients will feel that too. They'll know, they'll get a feeling for how you treat yourself, and ultimately that's going to be how you treat other people. So it gets projected onto them. So be aware of the talk that goes on in your head. Make sure that you're keeping yourself accountable, responsible, constantly looking for areas of improvement, knowing that you can get there. You have all the capabilities within you to get where you want to go. You just need to be aware of the possibilities that setbacks are learning opportunities, and that's exactly why they present themselves to you. So if you bring that into your sales process and even into your personal life, you're going to have a much easier go of it, and you're going to experience higher profits and results much more quickly than if you decide to blame other people. So that's our lesson on how to have power. As I promised, there were no push-ups involved. So I'll see you in the next lesson.